come around to say hello. One-on-one, I'm so fly. You took a nosedive. Careful when you play on my level. For you, it's so. Hey, hello.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra. Flip the script.
Hello, Moto.
Ajay Alok, in 2020 he was released, and then again being brought to India. It's almost as if it's a footnote in the entire statement made by Tehseen Poonawalla, where he congratulated the government. I just want to ask you to continue to doggedly raise this issue at the highest levels. Isn't that also a very, very important part of this extradition that we've now got? Because that's when the scales were tipped.
It's not a matter of extradition only from the United States. If you look at the foreign policy of the Prime Minister, right from last 10 to 11 years, you will see a paradigm shift. I'd rather say a tectonic shift in India's foreign policy and India's foreign relations with either West or East, or even with our neighbors. We are able to exert ourselves and we are not able to pressurize anyone. But we are able to exert ourselves and people are concerned about security needs. Look at the statement made by the Sri Lanka's Prime Minister recently. Will not allow even an inch of Sri Lanka's land to be used against India. And the same thing about Maldives. Bangladesh will also come to terms. So everything is happening. I think it's good for the security of the country, and if on this also people have some political aspersion, then shame on them. Please go and cry in China. I have only suggestions for people like Vivek Srivastava.
Gaurav Arya, I want to ask you, unless a state puts its might behind a certain extradition, do these things happen routinely? Yes, it's a diplomatic victory. Yes, there is a lot of effort that has been put in by the NIA, has been put in by our agencies. But unless these matters are followed up at the highest level in the government, is it easy to get these extraditions?
I would say it's impossible. Without tenacity, without consistency. You see, there would have been a group functioning within the government of India whose only job was this. You be after this day after day after day after day. And finally, this is a result of a labor of more than a decade that we have managed to get him back to India. So there are a couple of points that I'd like to make here. It's very easy to say that, right? Doesn't matter. Of course it does. When was the last time this happened? A Pakistani army officer, part of a Lashkar-e-Taiba module, a Canadian citizen, goes to the United States of America, friend of David Headley, in prison in Los Angeles. And then we managed to get him out of there. It was extremely difficult, this entire task, simply because he was, he was a captive, if I may say so. He was a prisoner of the US judicial system. And US is a superpower. They don't take very kindly to these things. We managed to convince them. And tomorrow he's landing here. I think we must understand how phenomenal this entire thing is. And I'm not from the BJP. And I'm not from any political party. I pretty much don't care. But you must give credit where credit is due. And I think hats off to our agencies, hats off to the foreign minister, to the leadership of the prime minister, everybody. I mean, this is the Tahawwur Rana. We never thought we'll get him. I never personally, this is exactly how I felt. I was sitting in a television studio when Mr. Amit Shah said on the floor of the parliament that, 370 and 35A, are no longer going to be a part of the Indian Constitution. I was flabbergasted at that point in time. I said, how can this happen? And this is that kind of moment. How can this happen? It wasn't easy. Yes, people in the opposition will say, and they have every right. They have every right. And I think what Vivek Srivastava is saying, he has got every right. He's got
Vivek
every right
Srivastava, yes, you have the right. But once in a while, standing up and being one with the mood of the country, does that really happen to you easily, or is it very difficult?
Let's not misguide the country. Let's not let the nation know the truth. Let's not make this country a colony of the Americans and the Israelis. Let us not change the government policies the way India
what do you want?
And the idea of India from Nehru to Vajpayee when we supported Palestine. I want this government to stop taking false credit to the judicial process. Every country tries its own diplomatic pressures, but finally
anything good for the country, he gets dehydrated.
Way of thinking. Mr. Modi is not great a man. Yes,
Well,
No,
well,
it's not dehydrated. Don't try to.
it's always a sour moment for some who should be celebrating India's victory. Why is it so sour for parties in the opposition? I don't quite know. Which doctor can analyze this behavior? Also, I can't know. But I leave that to the imagination of our viewers tonight.